Hi honeys, it's Michelle. In today's video, I'm going to do a book haul. I've been getting a pretty decent amount of books lately, and I wanted to go over what they are. That way, when I do my book reviews, you're already familiar with what books they are. And that also gives you a chance if you want to go ahead and read any of these books before I do my review so that you can talk to me about what you thought of these books. That'd be great. So, all right. The first book I want to talk about, I actually don't have yet. It's my July selection of Book of the Month. I had my husband run and get the mail to get all these books that just arrived. And after he got home is when I got my message that my Book of the Month book had been delivered. And I'm not going to have him go down to the post office again. So I'm just going to go ahead and ref it with that book. So the book that I chose was The Shadows by Alex North. It's a thriller. It's 336 pages long. I'm hearing from people who have read it that it's very creepy and it's hard to put down. So don't threaten me with a good time. I will show up. I'm excited about it. I do have this synopsis here on my phone, so I want to go ahead and read it to you. It says, you knew a teenager like Charlie Crabtree, a dark imagination, a sinister smile, always on the outside of the group. Some part of you suspected he might be capable of doing something awful. 25 years ago, Crabtree did just that, committing a murder so shocking that it's attracted that strange kind of infamy that only exists on the darkest corners of the internet and inspired more than one copycat. Paul Adams remembers the case all too well. Crabtree and his victim were Paul's friends. Paul has slowly put his life back together, but now his mother, old and senile, has taken a turn for the worse. Though every inch of him resists, it is time to come home. It's not long before things start to go wrong. Reading the news, Paul learns another copycat has struck. His mother is distressed, insistent that there's something in the house, and someone is following him. Which reminds him of the most unsettling thing about that awful day 25 years ago. It wasn't just the murder. It was the fact that afterward, Charlie Crabtree was never seen again. So that sounds pretty good, right? Since it just arrived today, I'm hoping I'll have a chance to read it before the month is over and have it on my book review video at the beginning of August. I'm hoping. So just to let you know, if not, it'll be in my August review video. This book I got at the Goodwill. This is The Art of Racing in the Rain, a novel by Garth Stein. And I don't know if you're familiar with this. This was made into a movie. I haven't seen the movie yet. I was just about to finally watch it when I found the book. So I decided, why spoil a good time? Why not read the book first and then watch the movie? So I'm going to try to read this soon so that I can watch the movie, because I think it's on HBO or Showtime or one of the channels that I have access to. I want to be able to watch it before it's gone. On the eve of his death, Enzo, a philosopher dog with a nearly human soul, takes stock of his life with the Swift family. Denny, an up-and-coming race car driver, his wife Eve, and their daughter Zoe. I savored Garth Stein's The Art of Dancing in the Rain for many reasons. A dog who speaks, the thrill of competitive racing, a heart-tugging storyline, and best of all, the fact that it's a meditation on humility and hope in the face of despair. Ooh, that sounds good, right? Now, who said this? Wally Lamb. Don't forget that name because I'm going to be mentioning it again in just a minute. So I bought this book because I love books about dogs or cats or animals. I'm just an animal lover. I find these kind of books to be very cozy and heartwarming. And I kind of need that in my life right now. I think we all do. We need a little bit of happiness and joy and just something to warm our hearts a little bit. And so that's why I got this book. And then I also thought it would be fun to watch the movie after I read it. The copyright on this is 2008, and it's 321 pages long. I can't wait to read it. The rest of the books in this video I bought at an online bookstore called Better World Books. My friend Kristen recommended that I give them a try, and so I decided to go ahead and do that. At the end of this video, I will tell you about Better World Books because I found out some really interesting information about them when I looked into who they are. All of these books are used, and the first one that I got was She's Come Undone by Wally Lamb. This is one of my favorite books of all time. I actually have two books in this haul that are two of my favorite books of all time. And I don't have that many books that are that important to me, but this book was life-changing for me. Now, before I get into that, I'll go ahead and tell you the rest of the information about this book. Okay. Meet Dolores Price. She's 13, wise-mouthed, but wounded, having bid her childhood goodbye. Beached like a whale in front of her bedroom TV, she spends the next few years nourishing herself with Malamars, potato chips, and Pepsi, her anxious mother supplies. When she finally rolls into young womanhood at 257 pounds, Dolores is no stronger and life is no kinder. But this time, she's determined to rise to the occasion and give herself one more chance before really going belly up. In this extraordinary coming-of-age odyssey, Wally Lamb invites us to hitch a wild ride on a journey of love, pain, and renewal with the most heartbreakingly comical heroine to come along in years. At once a fragile girl and a hard-edged cynic, so tough to love, yet so intimately lovable, Dolores is poignantly real as our own imperfections. She's Come Undone includes a promise. You will never forget Dolores Price. So Wally Lamb, he writes very beautifully. I know because I actually met a student of his. He is actually, well, I don't know if he still is, but he used to be a professor in Connecticut, and he used to teach writing. So that might be part of why he's so good. He's probably got, well, at least a master's degree in writing, but probably beyond that. Now, I already have in my to-be-read pile another book that he wrote. Shoot, I wish I could remember the name of it because it's not on here. I'll put the name right there, just in case you're curious. So I have that in my to-be-read pile also. But so this author is the one who wrote that beautiful review on this book. When I was married before, years ago, I was very unhappy, and it took a lot for me to leave that relationship. And this book is one of, there's 3 different books that helped me get the courage to leave. And I know that probably sounds weird, but I really do believe that we have the ability to learn a lot from books that we can't learn from anything else. And sometimes when I read about a woman who has the courage to do different things, has the courage to go after her happiness, it inspires me to do the same thing. And this is one of those books for me. It really did help me get the courage to leave a situation I needed to get out of. That's how good this book is, in my opinion. I mean, I'm sure there might be, I think I met somebody one time who didn't like it, and I okay, but it is really good. This character, she's got a lot of flaws, which makes her even more endearing. And you might be wondering, well, gosh, if you read it, why are you now purchasing it years later? I actually had a dog who I had read this book, I want to say 2 or 3 times. And I had this summer where I kept rereading those 3 books over and over and over again. And my dog at the time ripped up this book. And I walked away with the lessons I learned from the book, and I haven't read it since. And that was 20 years ago, probably. Yeah, about 20 years ago. I thought, why don't I have this book? So I decided to go ahead and finally purchase another copy and reread it. Why not return to something I love so much? So this book is, the copyright for this book is 1992. It is 465 pages long. Wally Lamb, well, he lives in Connecticut, like I remember being told, and he is a writing teacher. And he's written not just this one and the other one in my to be read pile. He's written a few other books as well. But this book, highly recommend it. Can't wait to read it. I'm not sure though that I'll be reading this one this month. It'll probably be next month before I get to it. The next book that I got is Searching for Sylvie Lee, a novel by Jean Kwok. So this one is definitely a library edition. Or not edition, but it came from a library. A poignant and suspenseful drama that untangles the complicated ties binding 3 women, 2 sisters and their mother, in one Chinese immigrant family, and explores what happens when the eldest daughter disappears and a series of family secrets emerge, from the New York Times best-selling author of Girl in Translation. Then it says, it begins with a mystery. Sylvie, the beautiful, brilliant, successful older daughter of the Lee family, flies to the Netherlands for one final visit with her dying grandmother and then vanishes. Amy, the sheltered baby for the Lee family, is too young to remember a time when her parents were newly emigrated and too poor to keep Sylvie. 7 years older, Sylvie was raised by a distant relative in a faraway, foreign place and didn't rejoin her family in America until age 9. Timid and shy, Amy has always looked up to her sister, the fierce and fearless protector who showered her with unconditional love. But what happened to Sylvie? Amy and her parents are distraught and desperate for answers. Sylvie has always looked out for them. Now it's Amy's turn to help. Terrified yet determined, Amy retraces her sister's movements, flying to the last place Sylvie was seen. But instead of simple answers, she discovers something much more valuable, the truth. Sylvie, the Golden Girl, kept painful secrets. Secrets that will reveal more about Amy's complicated family and herself than she ever could have imagined. A deeply moving story of family secrets, identity, and longing. That just sounds wonderful. And the author is she lives in the Netherlands, and she's fluent in Chinese, Dutch, and English. The copyright for this book is 2019. And it's 314 pages long. I bought this book because it was on a to be read file that I keep on my phone. I'm not sure if I read about it somewhere or somebody recommended it to me, but it was on there. And so I went ahead and just added it to my cart. I think I'm going to read this book probably, I'm hoping, in September. This feels like the kind of book that would really be good when the seasons are changing. I feel like when the seasons are transitioning, it's always fun to read a book about somebody who's missing or about immigrants or just kind of movement. I don't know if that sounds strange or not, but that's just how I am. And so, yeah, I'll probably be reading this the end of August or beginning of September when we start transitioning into the fall. I think that that would be a good time for this one. The last book that I got is Maeve Binchy, Tara Road. This book is also one of my favorite books of all time. I've probably read it at least 5 times, if not more. I don't know what happened to my other copy of it, but I don't have it anymore. I know that, and I haven't read it in probably close to 10 years. So it was probably one of the many moves I did when I was a military wife. Maybe I lost it then, but I definitely recommend this book. It's just got this nice, well, the storyline is really fun and fast paced, and it's kind of frustrating sometimes, but then it's motivating at other times. It's very inspiring. But it's also got this really warm, relaxing feel to it. The main character, she keeps her own garden, which I love reading about. I've always wanted to do that when I get a house one day. She cooks with food that she got from her garden. She loves to cook. I think in this book, if I remember correctly, she ends up working in a restaurant. So there's just all this food nurturing going on, which I love. Rhea and Marilyn have never met. They live thousands of miles apart, separated by the Atlantic Ocean. One in a big, warm Victorian house in Tara Road, Dublin. The other in a modern, open-plan house in New England. 2 more unlikely friends would be hard to find. Rhea's life revolves around her family and friends, while Marilyn's reserve is born of grief. But when each needs a place to escape to, a house exchange seems an ideal solution. Along with the borrowed houses come neighbors and friends, gossip and speculation, as Rhea and Marilyn swap lives for the summer. This book, if you like that movie, The Holiday, with, was it Kate Winslet and Cameron Diaz? You'll love this book. It's even better. It's just the perfect book to cuddle up with your dog or cat on the couch and have some coffee or tea and just read this. It's just so cozy and wonderful. Like I said, I've read it so many times. Let's see. Plot is to fiction what melody is to music, and Binchy is a mistress like no other of stories which sing out. A review by The Independent. It's true, too. And also, I don't know if you're familiar with that movie that came out at least 20 years ago, Circle of Friends, but she wrote that book that was then made into the movie. The copyright for this is 1998. And let's see. This is 639 pages long, but it's worth it. This book, it really goes into some of the intricacies of friendships, but also relationships. What is a really good relationship? What isn't one? What does it all really mean? I don't know. I just love the book. So good. Okay, I told you that I would talk to you about Better World books at the end of this video. This website just sells books. It's 3 friends who went to college together. They decided to found this business called Better World Books. They wanted to fund more literacy, and they wanted to figure out a way to recycle old books. Their goal was to keep used books out of landfills. And they wanted to create jobs. So every time you buy a book at Better World Books, they donate a book to someone in need. So with my purchase, I bought 5 books. That means 5 books have been donated to someone in need. I think that's great. Makes me feel a little good, you know. As of June 2018, 26.5 million books have been donated by this company. 26.5 million books. $28.4 million has been raised for literacy and libraries. And 320 million books have been reused or recycled. Sounds like a pretty good company to me. So I wanted to help support them. I'm trying to support books, buying books from places that only sell books. Now that's not always that easy. I've been finding lately Barnes & Noble is hard to shop at, in the sense that it's hard to find a store that's open, and I like to look at books in person. So I've been buying my books in person at the Goodwill, and I've been buying books online at Better World Books and Book of the Month. I do want to get books at Barnes & Noble also. I would like to help support them as well, but like I said, when it comes to Barnes & Noble, I want to go down there. I want to drink some coffee and peruse the aisles, and I'm just not quite able to do that right now. The one that's near me is still not open. And there is another one that I found that's maybe 10 miles away, I think. But now I have so many books to read, I decided to put off going on another book shopping spree. That is it for my book haul. Let me know what you thought of these books. Have you read any of them? Did you like them? Do you want to get any of them? Why? Let me know. Let me know what you thought. I hope that you have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much for watching. I love you. Bye.